Okay, hi. I'm still adjusting things. I'm not sure if the volume is fine, if the camera is fine. I don't know. Um, oh Lord. Okay. I wanted to try and talk about art, first of all, because I think that we need to move on to the next section of the game. And in order to do that, we will need to talk about art, first of all, because I'm finding it difficult to make this piece of art, whatever this is, this expression about a video game, right? I'm considering this art in that sense, in the sense that I'm expressing myself about something that I like, in that kind of sense. Anyway, I'm finding things to talk about. Let's just leave it at that. And these things that I want to talk about, I need to talk about them first, because otherwise I won't be able to talk about them. So I need to talk about the act of talking about these things just for a second, because I need to. Otherwise, I can't move on. Okay. The issue is that there are a lot of things I want to say about this video game, and I'm not really sure sometimes how to say them, how to express them. And I can't express them unless I turn the camera on and start recording. Because unless I turn the camera on and start recording, I can't really think about it. I can't really take notes about it or make lists to help me think about the video game. I can plan it a little bit. There is a phase of planning which I'm thinking what I'm going to do. But more than anything, it's trying to feel what this video game is making me feel, and expressing it. Expressing the thoughts that this video game makes me think. However, those thoughts tend to be very personal. It reflects things about me in some way that I don't necessarily want to share. Not necessarily because I'm embarrassed of it, but because I don't think it's relevant to the work at hand, the work of art at hand. That is to say, we are studying a work of art called Conker's Bad Fur Day, right? And I think it is a work of art. And therefore, the things it makes you think about often tend to be very personal. I think this happens with art. It conveys to you things that are very personal. Things that you maybe couldn't have expressed otherwise, right? The work of art seems to express something that you couldn't have expressed. And so when you receive it, when I watch Conker's Bad Fur Day, think about it, and so on, I'm in some way receiving thoughts that I hadn't thought about, ever. And yet, they seem very familiar. They seem very present to my life. It's like as if art expresses something about our lives that's... Okay, just a sec. I'm going to leave this till later. Okay, so what I'm talking about is, in a way, the act of making art. The act of making art seems to come from the belly and comes up and expresses something that's unknown to itself. You end up saying something you didn't even know existed, and certainly maybe didn't know that it was a part of you. You didn't know it. It therefore feels as if something is coming out from you that isn't you, that wasn't you to begin with. And that is a theme of like transformation, because you are for a moment becoming someone different. You're transformed. I think that at this stage in Conker's Bad Fur Day, I need to talk about that before we delve in to the next phase of the game. Why? Why do I need to talk about that before we delve into the next phase? Because that aspect of what it is to make art is such a deep part of what it is that I'm doing. Maybe not deep, it's just such a part of what it is that I'm doing that I can't even do it without mentioning it. And that's sort of upsetting, because I don't really want to be spending that much time talking about myself or my stuff. I feel like that's not part of what the video game is, and I don't want to talk about it, right? I don't want to talk about the process of making art while talking about a video game. But I find that I can't make this video without talking about it. Like, I always just get cut off by myself. I end up interrupting myself. I end up not being able to speak. And so the video doesn't get made unless I talk about it, about the video. Why do I need to talk about the video? It feels as if the video is so much a part of what I'm feeling about this video. That's sort of the thing. This video is my thoughts and feelings about Conker's Bad Fur Day, but my thoughts and feelings about Conker's Bad Fur Day have a lot to do with themes that are very personal to me, themes about expression, expressing yourself, right? I think the game is a lot about that, about expressing yourself, how you express yourself, how you express yourself to others, how you express yourself to yourself, or in general. I feel like that's let's say what I'm reading into the game. It's what I'm interested in reading about the game. These are the themes of the game that I'm interested in, and therefore I'm making a video about these themes. Now, the problem is, because I'm interested in these themes, the themes of expression, expressing yourself, are important to me in like a personal sense. I have difficulties expressing myself in the sense that I sometimes express myself too much, I sometimes do it too little, and so on. Across the board, right? And that is not relatively sort of who cares, right? That's my own stuff. But at the same time, while I'm talking about this video game, I'm having to talk about these things. And guess what? That's the thing. These things, these topics, these things that I see in the video game are in some way new themes. Let's try and get into this minutely. Excuse me. New things. Why do I say new things? In a video game, in any video game, in any work of art, I believe that you perceive new things when you like it, when you are connected to the work of art. It's just my thoughts on art, they may not be true 100%. I think that when you perceive art, you're perceiving something new, something unsaid that you hadn't said to yourself. In fact, I think that what I feel when I feel a connection to Conker's Bad Fur Day is that Conker's Bad Fur Day is materializing and putting into words, albeit aesthetic words, an aesthetic language that's not plain like English, plain written, spoken language. It is a different kind of language, an aesthetic language that expresses something that I am simultaneously deeply interested in because I know it, because they are topics that are very deeply known, and very interested in it because it's expressing something about these topics that I had never seen before, that I'd never thought of before. So it feels as if, therefore, art is doing that. And then me, in talking about art, in talking about Conker's Bad Fur Day, need to pass these meanings. these meanings, which are, again, simultaneously very deeply known to me, very so personal that I wouldn't even need to talk about them. I wouldn't even need to think about them. They're just the core of who I am, right? My interests in expression, my interests in this topic and that topic, and art in general, right? There's that. And at the same time, I'm needing to talk about the new ways in which Conker's Bad Fur Day has made me think about these topics. Perhaps I'm sort of spitballing here, if it's not clear. Perhaps the problem is that this is a tricky combination per se, because it's a combination of the extremely known, so close to your face you wouldn't even have to look at it, so close to you you wouldn't even need to look at it, right? The water you're swimming in, the most basic elements of what you're living in, and simultaneously the most unknown things to you, the most marvelous, miraculous kind of things that you look at them and you're in awe of them, right? I think that in art we often end up being like in awe of what we see, because it's so filled with novelty in some way. There's something about it that's very new. It's tricky to combine those two elements, the extremely known and the extremely new. The extremely known has been with you forever. The extremely new is barely beginning to be visible. It's barely even coming into you from the future, so to speak. That problem, therefore, is at the core, I think, of what Conker's Bad Fur Day is trying to do, because it's at the core of what I'm interested in talking about it. So I'm interested in talking about a certain aspect of Conker's Bad Fur Day, and that aspect is at the core of this issue of expression, non-expression, things that are expressed, things that are not expressed. Perhaps there is a problem in expressing these topics for me because they're so known that I can't even imagine them being different from how I know them. In some way, there's an issue of breaking expectations and breaking patterns of thought of yourself that's going to encounter some problems along the way. Some of these problems are going to be like blockages that you need to pass through. I think that in Conker's Bad Fur Day, all this whole theme of blockages and passing through barriers and passageways is one of the ways in which the game expresses this theme aesthetically, this theme of blockages and expression. And probably that's it for now, even though I haven't really said anything. So yeah, I don't know. Sorry about this one. See how it goes from now on.